Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today was a couple of reports that have been heavy in the news over the last 6 months or so, um, and the reason this is important, I keep on seeing people paying for Robert Mueller's report. One woman was like, "Yeah, I paid $8 for the report on Amazon." Stop. $8 is it's not like that's the end of the world, but why? Open up your web browser, go to the government website, and download the report. It's the same one the news agencies get. Download it, take your time, read it. 50 pages a night, then you're looking at it's a 400 and something page report. Okay? Don't pay for something that you've already paid for through your tax dollars. Speaking of, and what I'll do is I will put the link to that report to the actual government website so that you know there's no fun and games being played here. I will put that link in the description box below. Also, speaking of tax dollars, universal health care, you're going to see a lot of things on television with universal health care, and they're telling you, man, it's going to cost us $34 trillion. And everyone's quoting the same libertarian think tank study done by the Mercatus Center. Charles Blahous did the study. He laid out charts and figures and was as far as I can tell, very thorough in what he did. I've actually read the report. Why? Because it's available for you to actually read, so that when they're telling you, hey, this thing is going to cost us $34 trillion, and you're going, no way I want to pay that. Like, no way over 10 years do we as a nation want to pay $34 trillion. Pause. What they're not telling you is that right now we pay $36 trillion. So it looks to be a savings of at least $2 trillion. There are a few more aggressive studies out there that go into some minutia, and they talk about how we can save $5 trillion. I'm the kind of guy that I like to go worst case scenario with everything. I mean, my wife will tell you that. My wife was like, hey, how much is that lawnmower going to cost? Now, I know that I was looking at spending about $2,300 on the lawnmower and the ride-on, but I'll tell her about $2,700 to $3,000. And that way, if she's cool at that number, guess what? She's cool at the $2,300 that it should come in at, and then I can pick up all those little extras that I want. But that's not what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is make sure that you understand that when news organizations, no matter which way they say that they lean, when they tell you, hey, this report says this, just go get the report. 9 times out of 10 with the report, there'll be some tables and some charts. And the person's either done the math or you can do the math yourself. Okay. So in this case, Blahous has done the math for you. And then there are charts to back that up. So you can see exactly, and he repeats a lot. He repeats that number a lot because, again, here's what everyone is counting on. Everyone is counting on you not clicking a link on your computer and doing any reading. So when Donald Trump lies to you, when he lied to you when he was standing on the steps of Air Force One, and he said, I don't know anybody named Stormy Daniels, didn't sleep with anybody named Stormy Daniels, didn't pay anybody named Stormy Daniels, forget about it, right? When he says that, everybody goes, he said he didn't do it. But then like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, he turns around and his lawyer had at that point said, well, not only did he sleep with her, but that's not a crime, which it isn't. I don't care who the hell he sleeps with. I care if he violated campaign finance law when he paid her, okay, 2 days or so before the election, so that the news wouldn't come out and tank his elections and tank his votes. That's what I care about, because that's rule of law right there. So when Rudy Giuliani went on television and said not only did he know her, but he slept with her and he paid her to affect the vote, right? He said all of those things on television. But again, they count on you not reading anything. So as people go, well, didn't President Trump say on the steps of Air Force One that he didn't? He goes, no, he didn't. And his full expectation there is for you not to look up and see whether or not he actually did or he didn't say it. You're just going to take his word for it, and then you keep it moving because you feel like that's your guy. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Look it up. So in the description below, I'm going to post a link to not only the a simple analysis of the healthcare for all, okay, Medicare for all, universal healthcare, as well as the report from Charles Blahous that everyone else is citing. Everyone is citing this report. So I'm going to put the link to the report in the description box, and I'm going to put a simple analysis of that report done by a third party also in the description box down below. So the whole point here is stop. I mean, come on. What did Rudy Giuliani come out and tell you? And I'm going to pick on Rudy a little bit because I'm a New Yorker. Rudy's a New Yorker. We have New Yorker type history. So let's pick on Rudy a little bit. When Rudy talks about black on black crime, he always likes to quote a figure. 97% of blacks are killed by other blacks. So therefore, it's not anything else but a black on black crime situation. A, his number's wrong. He's getting that number from the feds, the same place that you can get the number. You can look these things up yourself. And not only does it say that about 92% or so of, and I haven't looked at it in a while, but this is, I mean, again, look it up. 92% of black people are killed by black people. 84% of white people are killed by white people. That's literally what it says, like the next line, boom. Like 76% of Asians are killed by Asians, and it goes on and on and on to break down the murder rate in the United States and how it comes to be. And then other people will come in, like myself, will come in and do a little bit of analysis on that and say, okay, we understand that that's the case. 93% or so of black people are killed by black people. 84% or so of white people are killed by white people. Why? Well, think about it. And think about it in terms of this last huge election that we had in 2016. Let's think about how Donald Trump actually won. He lost by 3 million plus votes, but he picked up the Electoral College vote, which is basically how 4 of the last 5 Republicans have won the White House, is through that way, not through the popular vote. Okay? Let that sink in. But how it happens is this: the way people live, the way people live, where people live. That is how these things are. That's how you need to look at these things. So blacks in general tend to live in certain areas of the country, really on the coast and then in the South, like that. And we also tend to live closer together because we tend to live in ghettos and poorer areas where you live closer together, and you're literally killed by the people that you're closest to. So whether it be family, out to friends and neighbors, and as you go out from there. So while you'll have if you're going into places like Iowa, Wisconsin, people tend to live a little bit more spread out, which is why you don't have as much of the crazy gun violence that you see in places like Chicago. Those people literally live on top of each other. Okay. But when you're in Iowa, Vermont, you're a little bit more spread out. You may have a little beef with your neighbor, and you may have a little bit of crime like that, but you don't have people living literally on top of each other, which is where those bad feelings tend to happen, things like that. Again, don't take my word for it. Read for yourself, do the analysis for yourself. Just look at it. It's what the numbers say. Numbers can be made to lie, but people actually lie. Numbers generally don't. People generally do. Numbers can be twisted when you generally lie by omission, like when they tell you universal health care, yeah, it's going to cost $34 trillion. Okay. Your question should be, what do we pay right now? That should be your question, because what's going to end up happening is it goes into it in detail in the study where they talk about how and where we're going to save money. All right. Every other major country in the world does this. Every other major country in the world. And like anything, nothing is perfect. Everything has hiccups. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we will have zero problems with going with universal health care. The difference is that we won't be coming out of pocket to have those problems, you know? I watched a Republican, I think she was a Republican senator last week or the week before, and she's talking to doctors, and it's a viral clip on Facebook, by the way. You can catch this clip. She's talking to doctors about about healthcare, universal healthcare, and she's badgering them. We're going to pay more. My constituents don't want to pay for Her main thing is her constituents don't want to pay for illegal immigrants to have said healthcare, right? And the doctor said really plainly, and everybody gets this. You hear it and you agree to it and you say it yourself all the time. They're already getting the healthcare by waiting until the last minute and going to the ER, which is the most expensive place to get the healthcare, right? So now we're just talking about, so you're paying for it through your tax dollars right now at the highest rate possible. And the doctor looked at it and said, all we're saying is, let's fold it into the mix and make it cost us less. We're literally paying for it now. Let's pay less for it. And the woman just came back with, my constituents don't want to come out of pocket for someone else to have health care. Okay, if I looked at you and said, you're paying $10 a month right now, and it includes your buddy on your Netflix or whatever it is you're paying for, right? You can pay $8 and get it through the guy who handles everything else for you. And you're still going to pay for your buddy that you don't want to pay for. We can eliminate that, but you're going to pay $2 less. Are you saying yes or no to that? That's all I'm saying. He's heating up. Share it, pass it around. And in fact, by the way, I will include a link to some kind of video with that senator talking to those two doctors so that you can see that as well. It'll be in the description box down below. He's heating up. Have a good day.